Hello friends, it's Simone. It's coming towards the end of the year. Today is November 22nd, I believe, 2024. And this is the time when I start to reflect on what happened this past year and how things went for me. And so I thought maybe I'll start this end of the year video series with the fountain pens I purchased in 2024 and how I'm feeling about them now. I had the goal this year of only adding a few pens and purchasing only on specific date. That did not last very long. One of the reasons for that was that secondhand pens don't usually come along when I open my purchasing window, but I have to be quicker about making decisions. And there were quite a few secondhand pens that I acquired in 2024. So there's probably more reasons. Maybe that was just wishful thinking on my part and it wasn't how things went. If I'm reflecting on it right now, I would say that I have tried most pens that I would love to try, and that I don't necessarily need to purchase that many pens in 2025, but also maybe this fountain pen hobby is part of what makes it so interesting for me, is acquiring new things, trying them out and seeing how I like them. So I need to definitely find a good balance on how this is affecting my budget, because acquiring pens is not a cheap thing. But yeah, let's dive into this first part. If you have any things that you would love to see from me in this end of the year, winding down 2024 review reflection series, let me know in the comments down below. As of right now, I'm thinking I'm going through the first half of the year in this video and then come back to share the second half of the year in the next video. So I'm going to go by months and let you know what happened. So in January, I purchased 3 pens. The Lamy LX Marron with a medium nib, and the Opus 88 Demonstrator 2024 pink. There were 2 versions of them. They were announced in the fall and I knew I wanted that. And so I had these 2 pens on my list with another one. If I find pictures of all the things that I purchased, I will include them here as well. I'm not going to promise though. The third pen that I purchased in January 2024 was the Scribble Feel in Mosto with a medium nib. I ended up selling that pen in July because it did not work out for me. I did not enjoy the fact that for the way that I am using my pens, the ink evaporated too quickly and I had hard starts in the beginning, and I just did not enjoy the nib as much in order to look beyond that and keep it. This ink that evaporates is one of my pet peeves with fountain pens. I would really love for the pen, no matter how long it is in my pen case, and I know that this is an unrealistic requirement, to write when I uncap it and in the color that I put in there. I would love for the ink not to change color. Again, I said, this is an unrealistic expectation, but the more expensive the pen gets, the more I actually expect it to follow that rule. So what do I think about these pens now? I still really like the Opus 88 Demonstrator. It is awesome to hold, and I purchased it solely to house Pilot Parallel nibs, and it's perfect for that. I'm currently looking at cheaper alternatives for that because the thing that I don't like about this pen is if I only use it to house Pilot Parallel nibs, it's a really high investment to do that. So my friend Wendy Sue sent over some pens that I could try parallel nibs in that are on the cheaper spectrum. I will film a video about this in the future, not just yet. And then this Lamy LX I had on my list as pens to acquire for a while. I sold my Kaweco AL Sport in Golden Espresso, I think in 2023 sometime. And I really loved that brown pen so much, but it just doesn't. Kaweco Sports just don't really work for me. And so when I saw this, I thought this would be a good replacement pen for that, as it is a similar color of brown, because I really like these kinds of brown brushed aluminum things. So those are really great. And I purchased, I'm not going to include nibs, but I also added gold nibs from Lamy to my collection of nibs in 2024. And I really love putting these gold nibs onto my Lamys. So I really like those still. All right, in February, that's when through that, I am going to purchase only on certain dates out the window, because I wanted to try a Lamy Studio. And one of my friends, Lisa Pearson, sold her Lamy Studio in Glacier for so cheap that I jumped on that. I also ordered the rubberized grip section from Vaness, and I quickly realized this pen is not for me, and so I actually sold it back in March. So I only had that pen in my collection for about a month. And then I purchased the Sailor Pro Gear Too Hot Habanero with a music nib on the virtual pen show for a really good price. This was one of the pens that came out when I just started getting back into fountain pens, and I always loved it. And so when I saw it, I just couldn't resist. And this was actually my very first Sailor Pro Gear, my own Sailor Pro Gear. If you looked closely, you can see that I did a nib swap, and I'll talk about that when the other pen comes up. Then in March, Lamy came out with their limited edition 2024 Lamy Safaris. And so I added the Violet Blackberry to my collection. I also added the Lamy Pink Cliff to my collection with the intention of giving it away, which I did. Then I was perusing Amazon, and this is where I snagged up this Pro Gear Imperial Black with a medium nib S. And this is an amazing pen, and it's still in my collection. I have fallen in love with Sailor pens, so there will be several more Sailor Pro Gears. And then the last pen that I acquired in March 2024 is this Sailor Pro Gear King of Pen in Black. This had been in my possession since the San Francisco Pen Show 2024, but at that time I had saved up enough money to be able to purchase it from my friend. So these 3 pens came into my collection in March. Now, I am still very much in love with the Imperial Black. I have a tiny bit of a pet peeve problem with the Lamy Safari, as this body always unscrews and it's never really tight here. This does not happen to the Lamy All-Stars or to the Lamy LX. This is always tight, and it never is with this Lamy Safari. So I'm actually considering if I want to keep this in my collection for much longer. This is one of those pens that if I'm too annoyed by this body unscrewing, I might just pass it along to a friend who wants it, or include it in a giveaway. The Cello Pro Gear, even though I purchased it and I still love it, sometimes I wonder, is this really the right pen for me to keep in my collection? As I have other expensive pens that I feel more excited about, and so this is also one of those, it's not on the chopping block just yet, but it's one of those, if I feel this excited about that other pen and I don't feel as excited about this pen, is it really necessary to keep a pen that costs quite a bit in my collection, or should I maybe pivot to something else? Alrighty, so these were 3 pens that I acquired in March. And then, out of complete FOMO, I acquired this Nagasawa Gierske with gold trim and this amazing finial. This is a Nagasawa ink bottle, Kobe ink bottle. After seeing it on Carrots and Olives, Brittany's channel, where she unboxed it, I was like, okay, I need this pen. Do I have enough budget? Yes. So I just went ahead and bought it. It was like so quickly after I saw the video, I purchased this pen because it just fits me. And yeah, I don't regret buying this pen because I loved the Imperial Black so much that I knew I wouldn't make a mistake acquiring this. It's a broad nib, it's super smooth, super wet, no problems at all with this pen. Then there were some functional pens that I added to my collection. I think I was gifted this one by my friend Dana. Then I think I purchased this one. It's an extra fine nib. I was looking for a great planner pen. Those two did not do it for me. And I had this idea that all pens that I have in my collection, I want to enjoy mostly. And I have more of those in my collection right now. These are pens that I decided to take out of my rotation of pens that I want to ink with colorful inks. This is not a fountain pen. This can house a Pilot Parallel nib unit as well, and declare them to be functional pens, because it doesn't really make sense to give them away because they're so inexpensive. But maybe in a year or two, I want to do an art project with a weird ink that I don't know if it works in an actual fountain pen, so I can just use this for that. But I gave myself permission to free myself of the expectation to fill it with a colorful ink, keep it in my rotation, and enjoy it. These are here in case I need them, but I'm not having any expectation of usage with those. There's one more pen in my collection right now that is one of those, but these are those pens. These have been acquired earlier, but these two came in. They didn't work well for the intended purpose, and so I decided, you know what? I'm allowed to keep them, but I'm not making myself use them if I don't enjoy using them in my rotation system. Then I was so grateful for the gift of a Lamy Studio Violet that was gifted to me mainly with the purpose of using the nib, which was a 14 karat extra fine gold nib from Lamy. Because I knew that I did not like the Lamy Studio, I took off the extra fine gold nib and sold the nib, turned around, sold the pen, and put the extra fine nib on one of the safaris, and I'm really happy with having those nibs on there. That was all the pens that I purchased or acquired in April, so I should probably keep those out here, which were these. So I got, this is not the right one, the clear one is the right one. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 pens in April. Now let's move to May. My Discord server has a channel that is called Enabling, and every time there are some awesome pens on Amazon for sale at a good price, someone will share it there. And so that's how I acquired the next 2 pens. The Platinum 3776 in extra fine in burgundy, as well as the Sailor Pro Gear Slim Mini with a medium fine nib. You could call this a functional pen. I have permanently, or ever since I received this pen, I have inked it with Lamy Cliff, the 2024 special ink. And I love how the ink flows in this pen, and I love how this pen feels. Now, the Platinum 3776, I did not enjoy the extra fine nib. It was super scratchy, and I wasn't able to tune it to my own liking. So I took it to the San Francisco Pen Show in August and got it ground to a monoline nib, and I still did not enjoy it. And so I sold that pen in October. What else? Another pen that I purchased in May was my first ever small pen maker commission, which was the Little Pen Designs Acadia in Stargazer. I ordered that without a nib, and I sold that in August. Again, this was my first experience with Little Pen Designs, and I am very picky when it comes to small maker pens. And often I just like, why am I not as picky with, you know, bigger manufacturers? I am. For instance, I do not like when threads aren't smooth, while the threads on this pen are smooth. So that pen, even though it was really lovely and the material was great that it was made in, had some minor flaws. And with flaws, I don't mean that the pen, there was anything wrong with the pen, but flaws that are important to me. Like the grip section wasn't as wide as I had hoped, and the threads were quite hard to use, as well as the polishing wasn't up to my expectations. And so I decided to let it go before the San Francisco Pen Show so that I could spend that money on other things. Because I am a firm believer of letting those pens go that don't work. All right, so we are at the end of May. I added, as I said, 1, 2, 3 pens. And I still have this one left. This one is also not really leaving my collection anytime soon because it's just so great. I don't use it for long writing sessions. I sometimes use it in my random functional writing sessions. Maybe, for instance, when I'm writing in my YouTube notebook, stuff like that. That's when I love using this pen. June. Wow. Haha. So I purchased 1 pen in June, which was the Lamy Safari Pina Colada with a medium nib. That is another limited edition pen. And when I got it, I knew when I saw it that even though the colors are bright and fun, I did not necessarily need to keep that pen long term. And when my niece and nephew visited during their summer break, I gifted them one fountain pen each. And because they're still in elementary or just starting middle school, and they use fountain pens in school, I decided to give them Lamy Safaris. They're easily replaceable. Those are fun colors. And so I gifted my nephew the Pina Colada and my niece the Violet Blackberry that I purchased in March. And then I repurchased the Lamy Safari in Violet Blackberry. So that is the pen. This pen is the one that I repurchased, not the one because I did not have. So I did not keep that. This didn't come in until my niece and nephew were gone. So in July, I repurchased the Lamy Violet Blackberry. I purchased on Amazon a Lamy Pro Gear Classic Black with a medium nib. And then I purchased a Bone Crusher 7 Studios in Velma. And it was called Vibes, I believe, was the blank. And then that was the July purchases. Now, as you can see, I do not have that Bone Crusher 7 Studios pen anymore because I realized that that specific blank did not vibe with me as much as I had hoped it would. And I had actually purchased it so that my friend Shauna, whenever she would have the funds for the pen, could just purchase it from me. So it was never supposed to be in my collection long term. And yeah, I sent it over to her after the San Francisco Pen Show. And I think it's hers now. I need to check. The only reason why I purchased this Sailor Pro Gear is because it had a medium gold nib, and I wasn't super keen on the music nib that was on here. And so I decided in order to be able to use this more often, I would swap out the nibs. I saw a video on how to do that, and it was actually really easy. And so I swapped around the nibs. I have inked this pen since then, and I'm ready to let this pen go. The music nib isn't as pleasureful as I had hoped. And yeah, I am selling this pen. If you're interested, please reach out to me via email and we can talk about the details here. So that was the July pen purchases. Yeah, this one is still here for a while. This one I would like to sell. I'm going to take photos soonish of all the pens that I'm actually ready to let go. And then I'm talking about the 2 pens in August that I received before the San Francisco Pen Show in this video. And then I'm going to start the next video with my San Francisco pen purchases. So in August, one of my friends sent me 2 Waterman Coren pens, both with a fine nib, because I had purchased a Waterman Coren from Endless Pens in the beginning of July. It showed as in stock, and then I received the email a day later, oh, oopsie, it's not in stock. Now it's a pre-order and it's gonna take up to 90 days until you can receive it. It took until October 2nd for that Waterman that I purchased then to be in my hands, but she said if I wanted to try it earlier, she would send them over. She's not using them, she's thinking of selling them. And so after I received them and had them in my hot little hands, I decided to buy both of them. because I could not really decide which one I wanted to keep. And so, as you can see, this pen in royal blue is still in my collection. And I sold on the Waterman Carène Deluxe in blue with a fine nib. Now, I'm not 100% sure that this pen will stay in my collection long term. I have since received the medium nib, and I really prefer the medium nib over the fine nib. And so I need to still do some testing if this is a writing experience that I thoroughly enjoy, or if I have other fine writing instruments, fine nibbed pens that I love more. But for now, it's still gonna stay here because it's also inked with Wearingeul. What's that ink called? Beautiful ink, orangey. Maybe I have my thing here, my ink book. Yes, Wearingeul Heimdall. Kyung-hee, and it's a beautiful ink, and there is still some ink in this pen, and I do not want to expel the ink until it's completely used up. I have tried to purchase or find a bottle of this ink online, and I haven't been able to find it yet. So I am going to keep that pen at least until the ink is out. So these are the pens. As I said before, these are 21 pens that I purchased until the beginning of August of 2024. I have sold, of those 21 pens, I have sold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pens. So of the 21 pens that I added, selling 9, I still have 12 in my collection, with 3 of them on a partial, 2 of them are on a, no, how many? The King of Pens, the Violet Blackberry, as well as the Royal Blue are on the fence pens. They are possibly on the chopping block, and the Pro Gear with the music nib in black is definitely on the chopping block. So these are the pens that, this is the pen that I'm selling. These are pens that I'm thinking of letting go at some point, maybe in the near or not so near future. All the other pens that I currently own that are still in my collection, I feel like they're going to stay for longer than just, you know, the next few months. Let me know if this is something that you enjoy watching. I sometimes have such a hard time figuring out how to do my reflections. I hope you liked watching this. What I decided to do is adding cards and links to all the unboxings of the pens that are no longer in my collection, and you can check them out over there. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. And also don't forget to leave a comment down below on other reflections that you would like to see in the month of December. I will hopefully see you again soon. Until then, bye.